My name is Mia Reynolds, and for the first 18 years of my life, I was the shadow in my family's sun-drenched Wyoming ranch house. Out there in the wide-open spaces of Jackson Hole, where the Tetons pierced the sky like jagged teeth, family was supposed to mean everything, blood thicker than water. All that cowboy code nonsense. But in the Reynolds clan, love was a commodity traded for looks, brawn, and the kind of charm that wins rodeo buckles or beauty queen sashes.
Me?
I was the odd one out. The bookworm who preferred cracking codes on an old laptop to roping cabs or primping for pageants. My older brother, Jake, 3 years my senior, was the ranch's golden boy. He had that rugged, all-American appeal, star rodeo rider, captain of the high school football team, the kind of guy who made folks tip their hats and say, "That boy's going places." His belt buckles and trophies cluttered the mantel like sacred relics, polished every Sunday by Mom's loving hands. When Jake rode into the arena, the whole town showed up, cheering like he'd just won the Super Bowl. Then there was my sister, Lila, 2 years ahead of me, with the kind of beauty that stopped traffic on Main Street. She collected crowns from county fairs and state pageants like they were wildflowers, landing modeling gigs in Denver by 16. Dad called her his little wildfire, and she burned bright, starring in school plays and turning heads wherever she went. And me? I was the unplanned addition. The happy accident Mom once whispered after too many glasses of wine at a barbecue. I aced every test, won math Olympiads, and even built a simple app for tracking cattle inventory that saved Dad hours of paperwork. But brains didn't count for much in a house that worshipped grit and glamour. "Why can't you be more outgoing like Lila?" Mom would sigh when I'd skip the barn dances for coding tutorials. "Book smarts are fine, but life's about real skills," Dad would grumble, dismissing my science fair wins as egghead stuff. Family vacations revolved around Jake's rodeos or Lila's competitions. My 12th birthday got scrapped for Jake's state finals. Priorities. "Honey," Mom said, as if my cake from the local bakery wasn't worth the drive. The photo albums were a testament to my invisibility, page after page of Jake on horseback, Lila in sequins, flanking Mom and Dad like perfect bookends. I'd pop up in the corners, blurry and forgotten, like an extra in someone else's Western epic. At family reunions under those big Wyoming skies, aunts and uncles would rave about Jake's latest buckle or Lila's headshots, then turn to me with pitying smiles. "And what's little Mia up to?" Still buried in those books. They'd pat my head, and my parents wouldn't bother correcting them if they mangled my name. The wooden sign in our kitchen read "Family First," but it felt like a punchline every time I saw it. I tried fitting in, joined for H, attempted barrel racing, ended up with a sprained ankle. Even copied Lila's makeup style once. Nothing stuck. By 15, I'd given up begging for scraps of affection. By 16, I dreamed of escape. College apps became my lifeline. Scholarships my ticket out. But freedom came with a gut punch I never saw coming. It hit 3 days after Grandma Eleanor's funeral. She'd been my rock, the only one who saw the spark in me. While my parents nodded off during my school presentations, she'd be front row, notepad in hand, cheering like I'd invented fire. "You're my sharpshooter, Mia," she'd say, slipping me books on programming or taking me stargazing to talk algorithms under the Milky Way. Her passing left me adrift, but her while reading in the lawyer's wood-paneled office in Casper shattered me completely. The attorney droned through the distributions, the family cabin to my parents, savings bonds split between Jake and Lila, heirloom jewelry to cousins. Then he cleared his throat. "To my beloved Mia, I leave my emerald necklace and $8,000. With this note, Shoot for the stars.
Mia.
Your light will outshine them all. Don't let anyone clip your wings. Lila smirked. Jake chuckled. Dad muttered. Typical Eleanor. Always spoiling the charity case. The words froze me. Charity case? I demanded. The room went still. Mom twisted her wedding ring, a tell I'd memorized from years of trying to read them. Tell her. Hank, she said softly. She's grown now. Dad stared at the floor. You're adopted.
Mia.
Your birth mom was Eleanor's ranch hand. She passed when you were 2, and Eleanor twisted our arm to take you in. We had Jake and Lila already, didn't plan on more kids. But family duty. You know, the world tilted. Adopted. We gave you a good life, Mom defended. Same schools, same ranch chores, same chances, same love. My voice cracked. Silence. We did right by you, Dad said, avoiding my eyes. Raised you proper. That money from Eleanor should get you started. Consider our part done.
Done.
Jake checked his phone. Look, this is heavy, but I've got practice. Lila nodded. It kinda explains why you never meshed.
Mia.
I scanned their faces, strangers in familiar skins. So, you're cutting me loose? Mom's jaw set. You're 18 soon. Time to stand on your own 2 feet. Best if we keep things distant. Distant, I echoed. Their polite word for dumping me. The ranch'll run smoother, Lila added casually. They'd already ridden me off. I grabbed the necklace box. Legs like jelly.
Fine.
I get it. Good, Dad said, pulling out his wallet like it was settled. Loyal handle the cash. Keep this quiet. Family business. Not our family. Theirs. That night, they changed the locks on the ranch house. My stuff sat in boxes by the barn, under a tarp against the Wyoming wind. The family portraits inside had been rearranged, no trace of me. It was like I'd been a bad dream they'd finally woken from. Boise, Idaho, became my fresh start, a tech hub in the West. Far enough from Jackson Hole to breathe. I rolled in with a beat-up pickup, $8,000 to stretch thin, and Grandma Eleanor's necklace tucked safe. A shared apartment off Craigslist, thin walls, leaky roof, roommates who partied till dawn. Perfect anonymity. I landed a gig at a local IT help desk, $12 an hour, fudging my resume with prior experience from ranch tinkering. Boss was a gruff type named Roy, quick to bark but fair. I reset passwords, troubleshot networks, and studied cybersecurity on the sly during slow calls. Ramen and thrift stores became my life. I cut corners like a pro, washing clothes in the sink to save quarters. Nights were my classroom, free Wi-Fi at all-night diners, library terminals, online courses in Python and encryption. Fingers blistered from typing, but I pushed on. 6 months in, I was spotting vulnerabilities faster than the vets. Roy noticed, claimed the credit, got a raise. I swallowed it, kept grinding. The break came at a free tech meetup in downtown Boise. I'd hitchhiked to save gas, sneaking in for the free pizza.
Dr.
Sofia Ramirez was speaking, dissecting a major data breach like a surgeon. In the Q&A, I piped up with a twist on anomaly detection I'd puzzled out during graveyard shifts. She eyed me, my faded jeans, scuffed boots, the fire beneath. Stick around, she said. We got talking to do. Sofia became my guide, seeing the potential others missed. She hooked me into networks, pushed me toward hackathons where my out-of-the-box ideas started paying off. Prizes rolled in, $600. $1,200. Enough for real meals. You think like no one else, she told me over diner coffee after I flagged a flaw in a banking system. No silver spoon holding you back. That's your edge. Mia, pure grit from the ground up. The idea for VigilNet sparked at 4 a.m. Wired on Cheap Joe. Watching a roommate battle and ex hacking her accounts. What if security read behavior? Not just passwords, keystroke patterns, mouse rhythms, the human touch as the key. I prototyped on borrowed rigs. Testing at meetups. 2 years post-Wyoming. I pitched to investor Carla Vance in a Boise boardroom. In my best secondhand suit. This could flop or fly, she said. In my world, I shot back. Flying's the only option. She grinned. Seed funding approved. Don't let me down. I walked out with capital that would have made the Reynolds choke. But I focused forward. Grandma Eleanor's words echoed. Shoot for the stars. In Boise's budding tech scene, I was launching. Building VigilNet wasn't a fairy tale, it was a grind. The kind that tests your soul under those endless western skies. With Carla's seed money, I quit the help desk and leased a small office in Boise's warehouse district. A step up from my apartment floor, but still raw enough to keep the hunger alive. Sophia joined as advisor, lending her cred from years in the field. We hired 3 coders, fresh bootcamp grads, eager for equity over salary. The first year was brutal. Code marathons stretched into sunrises. I pulled all-nighters fixing bugs that threatened to tank us. One hire bailed after burnout. Another had a meltdown mid-demo. I presented solo to our first big prospect, a regional bank, hiding nerves like a poker pro. Innovative, the CTO said. But why trust a startup run by Greenhorn? I'd heard worse from my so-called family. Give us 20 days in your sandbox. If we don't boost your defenses by 35%, we're out. He smirked. 10 days. Impress me. We didn't sleep. The system glitched hard, but Weary built stronger. By day 9, we'd patched holes their old setup missed, averting potential fines under data privacy laws like CCPA, clear, legal wins that sealed the deal, $2.5 million contract. I ugly cried in the restroom, then rallied the team. Media sniffed us out. Boise's rising star. Mia Reynolds reinvents security. I loathed the spotlight, but Sophia coached me. Leverage it. Turn their hunger for a success story into your ammo.
So I did.
Wired's 30 under 30 at 24. Tech awards piled up, drawing clients from Seattle to Vegas. The pivot? A call from a Homeland Security branch. They needed behavioral tech to spot insider threats. Think whistleblowers before the leak. Negotiations dragged. Navigating clearances and Fed tape. I learned fast. Rooms of suits assuming I fetched coffee. The deal? $35 million over 2 years. Celebration? A team barbecue under Idaho stars. Toasting what we'd forged. By year 5, VigilNet hit $300 million valuation. Offices in Boise, Denver, and Portland, 200 staff, patents that had rivals scrambling. I bought a modest cabin outside Boise, mine, earned, with views of the sawtooths that reminded me of Wyoming without the bitterness. The Ink. Magazine cover dropped on a crisp fall day. The Vigilante of Cyber. How Mia Reynolds built a fortress from scratch. I wondered if the Reynolds back in Jackson Hole caught it, the family who'd booted me like a stray dog. But I'd outgrown caring. Or so I thought. Staring at my empire's glow. 17 years vanished like dust in the wind. Then, one stormy afternoon, my assistant buzzed. Family here to see you. Reynolds from Wyoming. My stomach nodded. Send them in. They shuffled into my office, Dad, Hank. Mom, Linda. Jake. Lila. Even their kids. Time hadn't been kind. Dad's ranch-weathered face sagged. Mom's eyes hollow. Jake's rodeo build gone soft. Lila's glamour faded. The grandkids fidgeted. Oblivious. Mia, Dad started.
Hagen Hunt. We
We need help. The ranch tanked bad investments. Droughts. Dad's failed side hustle in cattle futures that smelled of shady deals. Cleared by audits but bone dry now. Jake lost his coaching job amid whispers of misconduct, nothing criminal. But enough to blackball him. Lila's marriage imploded. Her ex skipped with their savings in a scam that dodged fraud charges, but left her broke. We're family.
Mia, Mom pleaded.
Tears welling. Blood or not. We raised you. Adopted. I corrected silently. What do you want? Jobs at VigilNet. Startup cash, $2 million to reboot the ranch. They eyed my office like it was owed tribute. I leaned back. This is a lot after radio silence. We're sorry, Lila mumbled. We were wrong. Jake nodded. Come on.
Cease.
For old times. I excused them. Promising thought. Alone. I paced. Revenge tempted, exposed their neglect. Watched them squirm. But Grandma Eleanor's necklace weighed heavy. Her note. Outshine. Don't dim others. I called Sophia. They want in. I'm thinking bigger, a lesson. Not payback. We dug backgrounds legally, public records.
No hacks.
Dad's ventures skirted ethics, but stayed above board. Jake's firing. HR complaints. Settled quietly. Lila's ex. Investigated, but no charges. Friday. I summoned them to HQ. Let them wait in the lobby. Surrounded by our awards. Forbes issues starring me. In the glass conference room. My team flanked me. Impressive setup, Dad said. Thanks. Built it myself. I projected slides. Client roster, DHS. Banks. Tech firms. We handle sensitive data. Backgrounds matter. I quiz gently. Jake's skills? I'm a people person. But his history? Lessons learned. Lila. I could do PR. Her past? Mistakes. But I'm clean legally. Mom cried. We're desperate.
Mia.
I know desperation, I said softly. Lived it when you locked me out. Slide shifted. Old ranch photos. Minus me. Social posts. Blessed with the best kids. No mention of 3. You erased me, I said, voice steady. But here's my offer. $15,000 each. One time. Sign NDAs, no public ties. And counseling referrals, family therapy, job training. Not charity. Investment in change. $15,000? Jake balked. You're loaded. Earned. Not inherited.
Take it.
Or walk. They huddled.
Signed.
As they left, Lila whispered, Why help at all? Because holding grudges chains you down. Time to ride free. Post-meeting, I felt lighter. But the real plan brewed, a humane twist. The press event loomed, VigilNet's expansion announcement. I invited them anonymously, curious if they'd show. San Diego's convention center buzzed, journalists. Execs. Reynolds slipped in back row, looking out of place in worn western wear. On stage. Applause thundered.
Screenly, Wyoming Ranch photo.
My story starts here. Lessons in threats from within. Grandma Eleanor's pick. $8,000 and faith from her got me here. After adoption reveal and estrangement, I built this.
Gasps.
I detailed the bootstrap, Boise struggles, breakthroughs. Today, expansion to $1.2 billion valuation.
Cheers.
Second, Eleanor Fund, $15 million for estranged youth. Foster grads. Tuition. Mentorship. Therapy. Because family can fail, but we rise. Slides. Rejection artifacts. Then success montages.
Why now?
To show rejection isn't the end, it's a launch pad. Legal ties end at 18. But human ones? We choose. A reporter. Your family abandoned you? They chose distance. I chose growth. No blame, just forward. Another. Contact now. Bridges can mend if both sides build. But family's what you make. Standing ovation. Reynolds lingered post-event. Dad approached. That was eye-opening. Good. Use the fund's resources. Heal. We talked, awkward, but start.
No instant fix.
But seeds planted. The weeks after the announcement felt like riding out a Wyoming blizzard. Intense. But clarifying. Media frenzy hit. Reynolds rise. From ranch rejection to tech titan. Outlets dug into my past. But I steered interviews toward the Eleanor Fund, emphasizing redemption over revenge. It's not about settling scores, I told CNN. It's about legal fresh starts and emotional rebuilds. In the West, we know wide open spaces mean room to grow. The Reynolds reached out via the fund's anonymous line, smart, respecting NDAs. Dad enrolled in business counseling. Turns out his cattle deals were poor judgment, not malice. And coaches helped him pivot to sustainable farming grants. Mom joined support groups for adoptive families, unpacking regrets. Jake tackled anger management, landing a legit coaching gig at a community center. Lila pursued vocational training in digital marketing, using her pageant poise for good.
Me?
I threw myself into the fund. We selected 30 inaugural recipients, kids aged out of foster care in states like Montana, Idaho, Nevada. One. A 19-year-old named Riley from Reno echoed my story, smart, overlooked, building apps in secret. You get it, he said in our first Zoom.
No pity.
Just tools. Sophia and I mentored personally, teaching not just code, but resilience. Rejection's your rocket fuel, I'd say. Sharing my Boise hacks. Legal clarity was key. We partnered with attorneys for emancipation guidance, ensuring no gray areas like my abrupt cutoff. One evening, under Boise's sunset, Dad called.
Mia. Can we meet?
Neutral ground. We chose a diner midway, raw, real, like our roots. They all came.
Menos defensiveness.
We screwed up, Dad admitted over coffee. Thought duty ended at 18, like some contract. But family ain't a lease. Mom teared up. We favored flash over substance. Hurt you bad. Jake. I was a jerk. Riding high on ego. Lila. Jealous. Maybe. You were always the smart one. I listened. No rush to absolve. It stung. But it forged me. Legally. You owed nothing post-18. Emotionally, that's on all of us. We talked hours, mysteries unraveled. Why the favoritism? Dad's own abandoned childhood. Mom's pageant scars. A family drama unpacked.
Tình thám gì tai?
Clues in old wounds. No quick fix, I said. But let's try therapy together. Fund covers it. They agreed. Sessions started virtual. Probing deep, psychological layers peeled like onions. Detective work on our dynamics revealed patterns. Generational trauma from frontier hardships, where survival favored the strong and pretty.
Meanwhile,
VigilNet boomed. A mystery breach at a client bank tested us. Insider job. Behavioral flags caught it early. Like Sherlock in Silicon, Sophia joked. We traced it legally. No vigilante stuff. Handing to feds.
Headline, VigilNet Foilest Reynolds Texevs Million.
Personal growth mirrored professional. A fun kid, Elena from Albuquerque, cracked a vulnerability in our system during an internship, hired on spot. Your story inspired me, she said. 6 months post-reckoning. We gathered at my cabin for a tentative barbecue. Kids played. Adults shared stories. Jake taught me basic roping, laughs over my fails. Lila coded a simple site with me. Not perfect, Dad said. Watching sunset. But rebuilding. Like the West, I replied. Storms pass. Land endures. The lessons settled light. Family's a choice. Not chains. Forgive to free yourself. But set boundaries legally sound. Yet. Shadows lingered. A tip came, Lila's ex scheming again. We investigated quietly Flair, gathering evidence for authorities. No drama. Just justice. As VigilNet expanded westward, new hubs in Phoenix and Salt Lake, personal frontiers shifted too. The family therapy unearthed more, Dad's letters from Eleanor, begging them to embrace me fully. She ignored them, he confessed.
Pride.
Mom admitted favoring Jake and Lila from insecurity, her own overlooked youth. Projected my fears onto you. It hurt. But understanding bred empathy. We set rules, no financial asks. Respect boundaries. Legally, I drafted simple agreements, mutual NDAs for peace, not punishment. A detective element spice life, anonymous threats to the fund. Stop meddling in families, notes read. We traced via behavioral tech, turned out a disgruntled ex-foster parent scamming systems. Handed to law enforcement, clean, by the book. One recipient, Marco from Tucson, became a sleuth in his own right.
Etchengentin.
He used fund resources to uncover his birth records legally, reuniting with a sibling. Your story showed me puzzles have solutions, he emailed. Back home, reconciliation bloomed slow. Jake invited me to his coaching game, first time cheering him without resentment. Lila collaborated on a fun promo video, her charisma shining positive. But drama peaked when Dad's old partner sued over ranch debts, claiming fraud. Old beef, Dad said. We hired lawyers. Evidence cleared him, but revealed his past shortcuts. Lesson: transparency from the start. I testified remotely, focusing facts. Post-trial, Dad hugged me. Proud.
Mia.
Not just success, your heart. The Eleanor Fund's first graduation, 15 kids with degrees.
Jobs.
Riley presented, from discarded to indispensable. Tears flowed. Media captured the humanity. Sophia pulled me aside. This is your real empire. Nodding. I slipped on Eleanor's necklace. And the family's part of it now, willingly. A light lesson emerged. Revenge corrodes. Redemption builds. In America's West, where pioneers forged paths, second chances are the true gold. Years blurred into a tapestry of triumphs and quiet mends. VigilNet went public at $2.5 billion. I channeled proceeds into the fund, now $50 million strong, helping thousands across the West. Legal partnerships ensured smooth adoptions. Estrangement support, clear paths to independence. Family evolved. Holidays at the ranch. Inclusive now. Jake's kids called me Aunt Mia. Learning code over campfires. Lila launched a nonprofit for pageant girls in tech. Mom and Dad volunteered with fosters.
Paying forward.
A final mystery, An old Wyoming box arrived, Eleanor's unseen letters to me. If they fail you, build your own stars. Read with family, closure.
Today.
Under Teton's glow, I stand tall. Betrayed once, but risen humane. Lesson: families forged in choices, not blood. Choose kindness, it outshines revenge. The West taught me, horizons are endless.
Shine on.